who dared to explore its depths after dark. Despite warnings, curiosity drew many to its decaying gates, but few returned, and those who did spoke of unsettling whispers and chilling encounters. One stormy night, a group of thrill-seekers, led by a daring young woman named Clara, decided to challenge the rumors and uncover the truth behind the asylum's eerie reputation. Armed with flashlights and a shared thrill for the supernatural, they breached the rusted gates and entered the forsaken structure. The asylum's interior was a labyrinth of shadowed corridors and abandoned rooms, each telling a silent tale of despair. As they delved deeper, an inexplicable coldness enveloped them, and the faint sound of whispering echoed through the halls, growing louder with each step. The whispers were indecipherable, yet they seemed to beckon the group further into the asylum's heart. Ignoring the growing unease, Clara led her friends to the central ward, where the whispers coalesced into a discernible voice, murmuring a name. Evelyn. The air grew thick with a palpable sense of sorrow and madness, and the temperature dropped, frosting their breath in the air. Driven by an unspoken agreement, the group searched for any records or clues about Evelyn. In a dust-covered office, they found patient files, and, amongst them, a file for an Evelyn Marrow, admitted in the 1920s for visions and hysteria, common diagnoses of the time for unexplainable mental afflictions. As they read, the whispers intensified, and a chill wind swept through the room, scattering papers in a whirlwind of chaos. Then, abruptly, everything stopped. The asylum fell into a heavy silence, as if holding its breath. Feeling they were not alone, Clara sensed a presence, a sorrowful spirit lingering in the shadows. Compelled to follow this unseen guide, they navigated through dimly lit hallways until they reached the solitary confinement wing, where patients who were considered a danger to themselves or others were kept. The door to one particular cell, heavily bolted and padlocked, stood ajar. Inside, the remnants of old restraints and a solitary bed anchored to the floor painted a grim picture of confinement and despair. It was here that the whispers led them. Here, where the air was thickest with the residue of anguish. Clara, feeling a connection to Evelyn, reached out, touching the cold metal bed frame. And in that moment, a flood of emotions and fragmented visions washed over her. She saw Evelyn, trapped and tormented, not by her own mind, but by something darker, an oppressive force that fed on her fear and sanity. The storm outside intensified, mirroring the turmoil within, as the group realized that Evelyn's spirit was not just trapped in the asylum, but bound to the very essence of the place, tormented by something unseen, an entity that the asylum itself seemed to nurture and hide, determined to uncover the truth and free Evelyn's spirit. Clara and her friends decided to delve deeper into the mysteries of Whispering Pines. The story pauses here, leaving them on the threshold of a dark journey into the heart of the asylum's forgotten horrors, where the line between the living and the dead blurs, and the true terror of Whispering Pines waits to be unleashed. As the storm raged outside, the walls of Whispering Pines seemed to groan under the weight of untold secrets. Clara and her friends, their initial bravado waning, felt the oppressive atmosphere tighten around them like a vice. They were no longer explorers of an abandoned relic, but prisoners of its haunted legacy. With each step deeper into the bowels of the asylum, the air grew colder, and the whispers evolved into desperate, anguished cries. It was as if the very souls of the past were etched into the walls, their pain and madness seeping into the fabric of the building. In their quest to find the source of Evelyn's torment, they came across a sealed section of the asylum, its entrance barricaded with old furniture and warning signs long faded by time. The barrier seemed intentional, as if to keep something contained rather than to keep intruders out. Undeterred, they cleared the path and opened the heavy metal door, which screeched in protest, revealing a staircase spiraling down into darkness. The air here was stagnant, reeking of decay and mold. With only their flashlights to pierce the gloom, they descended, the sound of their footsteps echoing off the stone walls. At the staircase's base lay a network of subterranean tunnels, part of the old asylum's foundation, long forgotten and buried under layers of dust and silence. The whispers were louder here, almost coherent, threaded with the sound of weeping and soft, haunting laments. They followed the tunnels, drawn by the echoes of sorrow, until they reached a large underground chamber. Its walls were lined with archaic symbols, and old, rusted chains hung from the ceiling, clinking softly as if stirred by an unseen breeze. In the center of the chamber stood an altar made of stone, stained with the passage of time and darker substances. It was here that the essence of the asylum's horror was most concentrated, a nexus of spiritual and psychic energy. The air pulsed with the power of accumulated sufferings, and at the altar, the whispers coalesced into the figure of Evelyn, her form flickering between the ethereal and the corporeal, her face etched with eternal despair. Evelyn's eyes met Clara's, and in that gaze, a silent plea was communicated, a beckoning to understand the depths of her tragedy. Around her, shadows moved, forms of other patients, their spirits trapped in a perpetual cycle of their darkest moments, replaying their torments. The group realized that the asylum, Whispering Pines, was more than a place of confinement for the mentally ill. It was a crucible for something darker, a ritual ground used by the asylum's founders to harness and exploit the suffering and madness of its patients for unknown, eldritch purposes. Determined to unravel the full extent of the asylum's secrets and free Evelyn and the others, Clara and her friends set out to explore the chamber and its artifacts. Among the relics, they found a collection of journals and old documents belonging to the asylum's head doctor, revealing the extent of the inhumane experiments and rituals performed in the name of science and occultism. The documents spoke of a grand design, a quest to breach the veil between life and death, using the patients as conduits to channel the energies needed to pierce the barriers of reality. Evelyn, with her sensitivity to the unseen, was the perfect candidate. Her spirit now a linchpin in the perpetual cycle of energy feeding the asylum's dark heart. As the group delved into the chilling accounts, the storm outside seemed to echo the turmoil within. present blurring. The spirits in the chamber stirred, their restlessness growing as the history of their suffering was brought to light. Clara and her friends knew they needed to find a way to break the cycle, to release Evelyn and the others from their endless torment. They prepared to delve deeper into the asylum's arcane history, seeking the key to unraveling the dark rituals that bound the spirits to Whispering Pines. The story pauses here, leaving them on the cusp of a darker revelation. The secrets of the asylum and its victims hanging in the balance. A tale of horror and redemption waiting to unfold. Armed with the knowledge from the head doctor's journals, Clara and her friends understood that to break the cycle and free the spirits, they needed to disrupt the ritual that bound them to the asylum. The documents hinted at a ceremonial chamber beneath the main altar room, where the final rite was performed, anchoring the spirits to the physical realm of Whispering Pines. As they searched the chamber for an entrance to the lower levels, they found a hidden mechanism beneath the altar, revealing a narrow passage leading down into the earth. The air grew heavier as they descended, filled with the echoes of past agonies and the cold touch of unseen presences. Of the asylum, they discovered the ceremonial chamber, a grotesque cathedral of suffering, its walls adorned with carvings depicting the ritual and the bound spirits. At the chamber's center stood a large obsidian stone, pulsating with a dark energy, the heart of the ritual's power. In the flickering torchlight, see that the stone was inscribed with symbols similar to those in the journals, each representing a different aspect of the ritual and the energies it harnessed. It was clear that this stone was the key to the ritual's potency, channeling the psychic torment of the patients into a focal point for the dark energies to converge. Clara, feeling a connection to the stone, approached it cautiously. As she touched its surface, visions of the past rituals flooded her mind, showing her the countless souls sacrificed in madness and despair to feed the stone's power. Among these visions, she saw Evelyn, her spirit resisting the ritual, her strength preventing her from being fully consumed by the stone's darkness. Realizing that Evelyn's spirit was the linchpin holding the ritual together. Clara knew that freeing her would unravel the entire dark weave binding the asylum, but doing so would require reenacting the ritual to reverse its effects. A dangerous endeavor that could risk their own sanity and souls. Determined to end the suffering, Clara and her friends gathered around the obsidian stone, each taking a position as dictated by the ritual's layout. They began to recite the incantations in reverse, hoping to invert the ritual's flow and release the bound energies. As they chanted, the air in the chamber thickened, and the stone began to vibrate, emitting a low, ominous hum. The spirits of the asylum, drawn by the ritual's reversal, started to converge on the chamber, their forms becoming more defined as the ritual progressed. The obsidian stone's dark energy fought back, unleashing psychic assaults to protect its accumulated power. Clara and her friends struggled to maintain the incantation, their minds assailed by the tormented echoes of the stone's victims, trying to overwhelm their resolve with despair and fear. In the midst of the chaos, Evelyn's spirit appeared before Clara, her ethereal form clear and strong. She whispered words of guidance, helping Clara to navigate the storm of psychic turmoil and focus the ritual's energy. Together, they became the eye of the storm, a calm center in a maelstrom of unleashed spectral fury. As the incantation reached its climax, the obsidian stone cracked, its surface fracturing as the pent-up energies burst forth in a blinding explosion of light. The chamber shook violently, the very foundation of the asylum groaning as if in agony as the ritual's bonds were shattered. The spirits, including Evelyn's, began to ascend, their forms dissolving into light, freed from the earthly chains that bound them. The darkness that had pervaded Whispering Pines for so long lifted, the oppressive atmosphere giving way to a serene calm. Clara and her friends, exhausted but triumphant, watched as peace finally settled over the asylum. However, the obsidian stone, now a network of cracked veins, still pulsed faintly. While the main ritual was broken, remnants of its dark energy lingered, hinting at deeper secrets yet to be uncovered in the legacy of Whispering Pines. The immediate danger had passed, and the spirits were freed, but the story of Whispering Pines was not yet fully told. The asylum still held dark corners and hidden depths to explore, its walls a silent witness to untold stories waiting to be revealed. The journey of Clara and her friends in the haunted halls of Whispering Pines continues, the end of one mystery possibly marking the beginning of another. In the aftermath of the shattered ritual, the once malevolent Whispering Pines now stood silent, its atmosphere no longer oppressive, but filled with a somber tranquility. Clara and her friends, weary but resolute, sensed that their journey through the asylum's mysteries was far from over. The fractured obsidian stone, with its residual dark energy, hinted at deeper layers of the asylum's history and the possibility of other malevolent forces at play. Determined to fully uncover and neutralize the lingering threats, they decided to investigate the origins of the obsidian stone and the extent of the rituals performed within the asylum. Their search led them to the library, where hidden compartments revealed ancient texts predating the asylum itself, suggesting that the site was chosen for its intrinsic dark energies and its proximity to ley lines conducive to dark rituals. These texts spoke of a cult, the Order of the Whispering Shadows, which had used the location for their ceremonies long before the asylum was built. The obsidian stone was not just a tool for the asylum's head doctor, but an ancient artifact of significant power used by the cult to open gateways to other realms and communicate with entities beyond human comprehension. Intrigued and alarmed by these revelations, Clara proposed a daring plan: to use the remnants of the stone's power to glimpse into these other realms and gain knowledge to prevent any future resurgence of the dark forces. Despite the risks, her friends agreed, their bond and shared experiences having forged a strong unity among them. Returning to the ceremonial chamber, they arranged the fragments of the obsidian stone in a pattern described in the ancient texts, creating a makeshift portal. As they initiated a controlled version of the cult's ritual, the stone's fragments glowed, casting eerie shadows that danced along the chamber walls, and a thin veil seemed to lift, revealing glimpses of otherworldly landscapes and shadowy figures lurking just beyond their perception. The boundary between their world and the next thinned, whispering voices filled the air, not with malice, but with warnings and prophecies. Among these voices, one stood out, clearer and more insistent. It guided Clara and her friends through the visions, showing them the potential paths of darkness that could emerge if the stone's power was left unchecked or fell into the wrong hands. As they navigated the visions, a map of interconnected realities unfolded, revealing the cosmic scale of the battle they were part of. The entity behind the voice identified itself as a guardian of the balance, once allied with the Order of the Whispering Shadows before they delved too greedily into powers they could not control. The entity offered knowledge to seal the breaches and protect the world from the entities that sought to exploit the stone's power. But this knowledge came with a warning. The balance between realms was delicate, and their actions could have consequences beyond their understanding. Armed with this newfound understanding, Clara and her friends emerged from the vision. The fragments of the obsidian stone, now dull and lifeless, their power spent, they realized they had not only uncovered the dark past of Whispering Pines, but also stepped into a larger cosmic struggle, where the asylum was a nexus point between realities. The immediate threat was neutralized, but the responsibility to guard against further incursions lay heavily on their shoulders. They left the chamber, the weight of their new role as guardians mingling with the relief of having freed the spirits of Whispering Pines. As they exited the asylum, the first light of dawn crept across the sky, casting a new light on the old structure. It no longer seemed menacing, but rather like a silent sentinel, a reminder of the thin veil between light and darkness, and the ongoing vigilance required to maintain the balance. Their adventure in Whispering Pines had concluded, but their story had taken on new dimensions, opening up a world of mysteries and responsibilities far beyond the confines of the haunted asylum. The path ahead was uncertain, fraught with challenges and dangers, but Clara and her friends were ready to face whatever lay beyond the veil, guardians of the balance between realms. As the new guardians of the balance between realms, Clara and her friends began to explore their roles, delving into the ancient texts and artifacts they had found within Whispering Pines. The Asylum, once a place of fear and darkness, now served as their base of operations, a library of the occult and a gateway to the unknown. Their studies revealed that the Order of the Whispering Shadows had left behind more than just the obsidian stone. There were other artifacts, each with its own power and purpose, scattered throughout the land, hidden in places dark and forgotten. These relics, if gathered, could either safeguard the balance or, if misused, unleash chaos across the worlds. Motivated by the need to protect these powerful items from falling into the wrong hands, Clara and her group set out to locate and secure them. Their journey took them beyond Ravenwood, into ancient forests, abandoned temples, and forgotten crypts. Each location revealing a piece of the larger cosmic puzzle and bringing them into contact with entities and guardians of both light and shadow. During their travels, they encountered other groups and individuals drawn to the artifacts for various reasons. Some sought to help guard the balance, while others, tempted by the promise of power, aimed to exploit the relics. This led to alliances and conflicts, testing the group's resolve and their understanding of their newfound roles. One of the artifacts, a mirror known as the Veil of Lysara, became the focus of their quest. The mirror could reveal the truth behind illusions and grant visions of potential futures, but it was also a portal to a realm of trapped nightmares, where the fears of countless beings were given form. Clara and her friends located the Veil of Lysara in a derelict monastery perched atop a mist-enshrouded mountain. Guarding the mirror was a sect of monks who had turned to dark rites, believing they could control the nightmares and use them as weapons. The group had to navigate a labyrinth of illusions and face their own fears brought to life before they could reach the mirror and confront the corrupted monks. Securing the Veil of Lysara was a harrowing ordeal that left the group scarred but more determined. They learned that the balance they sought to maintain was not just between realms, but also within themselves, as each artifact brought personal trials and revelations. With the mirror in their possession, they used its powers to seek out the remaining artifacts, each member of the group taking turns to peer into its depths and face the truths and challenges it revealed. The visions led them on new paths, each more perilous than the last, drawing them into the depths of ancient conspiracies and cosmic battles that blurred the lines between friend and foe, truth and deception. The story of Clara and her friends had evolved from a simple ghost tale to a complex saga of mystical guardianship and interdimensional conflict. As they prepared to venture into a realm shown in the Veil of Lysara, where the next artifact lay hidden, they understood that their journey was far from over. The challenges they faced had broadened their perception of reality and their place within it, hinting at a destiny far greater and more intricate than they had ever imagined. Their tale continues, a never-ending quest to safeguard the balance, facing whatever darkness or light the journey into the unknown might bring. With the haunted halls of Whispering Pines ever at their back, a steadfast reminder of where it all began and the eternal vigil they now upheld, embarking on their journey to the realm revealed by the Veil of Lysara. Clara and her friends found themselves standing before a rift in reality, a shimmering portal suspended between ancient standing stones, deep in the heart of a shadowy forest. The air around the portal pulsed with energy, a mix of allure and danger, as if the threshold itself was alive and beckoning them forward. Stepping through the portal, they entered a world unlike any they had known, a place where the sky shimmered with iridescent colors, and the ground was a mosaic of crystal and shadow. This was the Shattered Realm, a dimension fractured by past conflicts and the misuse of the artifacts they sought to recover. The landscape was a labyrinth of floating islands and twisted pathways, each turn revealing both breathtaking beauty and lurking perils. Here, the remnants of ancient battles lay frozen in time, and the air was filled with the whispers of lost souls, echoes of their final moments. Their goal was to find the Heartstone, an artifact said to be the key to healing the fractures in this realm and preventing its chaotic energies from spilling into their own world. The journey was fraught with trials, as the realm's guardians, creatures of crystal and shadow, mistook them for the latest in a long line of would-be conquerors and thieves. Navigating the Shattered Realm required more than bravery and strength. It demanded wisdom and insight, as the very nature of the place responded to the intentions and emotions of those who traversed its paths. Each challenge they faced was not only a physical confrontation, but a test of their resolve and purity of purpose. As they ventured deeper into the realm, the boundary between physical and ethereal grew thinner, and they encountered beings of pure energy, remnants of the realm's original inhabitants. These beings, neither hostile nor friendly, observed the group with curiosity, their actions and choices weighed and measured. Clara, through her connection with the Veil of Lysara, communicated with these entities, seeking their guidance and understanding their role in the realm's realm's history, she learned that the Heartstone was not merely a tool of power, but a symbol of unity and balance. Its purpose to bind the realm's fragmented pieces and restore harmony. Their quest led them to the heart of the shattered realm, a vast chasm surrounded by towering spires of crystal, where the Heartstone was suspended in a column of pure light, its energy pulsating like a heartbeat. Guarding the Heartstone was the echo of the realm, a manifestation of the realm's collective consciousness, formed from the memories and emotions of its past. To retrieve the Heartstone, Clara and her friends had to prove their worthiness through a trial that challenged their understanding of balance and sacrifice. They faced illusions of their deepest fears and desires, each overcoming their personal trials to demonstrate their commitment to the greater good. As each member of the group passed their tests, the echo of the realm acknowledged their strength and purity of heart, allowing them access to the Heartstone. With its retrieval, the fractures in the realm began to mend, the floating islands merging and healing, restoring the shattered realm to a state of peace and unity. Returning to their world with the Heartstone, Clara and her companions found that their actions had repercussions beyond the immediate healing of the shattered realm. Back in Whispering Pines, the rifts and tears in their own reality, caused by the misuse of the artifacts, began to heal, reducing the threat of interdimensional incursions and the spread of chaos. However, their journey was far from over. The recovery of the Heartstone was just one part of a larger cosmic puzzle, with several artifacts still missing, and the balance between realms hanging in the balance. Their quest continued, leading them to new adventures and challenges. Each step forward revealed more about the intricate web of realities and the forces that sought to control or destroy them. Clara and her friends, now seasoned guardians of the balance, stood ready to face these challenges, their resolve strengthened by their successes, and the knowledge that the path they walked was one of both peril and profound discovery. Their story, woven into the tapestry of cosmic destinies, remained open, a continuing saga of courage, mystery, and the unending fight to maintain the balance between light and darkness. As Clara and her companions journeyed further, traversing realms and uncovering ancient secrets, they gathered the scattered artifacts, each discovery bringing them closer to understanding the vast cosmic equilibrium they were sworn to protect. Their travels led them to confront entities both benevolent and malevolent, learning the complex nature of power and the delicate dance of cosmic forces. Eventually, their quest brought them full circle, back to Whispering Pines, where it all began. Here, with all the artifacts gathered, they prepared for the final ritual that would not only secure the balance between realms, but also seal the breaches that had caused so much turmoil. Under the ancient trees of Ravenwood, surrounded by the remnants of the Order of the Whispering Shadows, Clara and her friends arranged the artifacts in a complex pattern, each piece resonating with the others, forming a web of light and shadow. The ritual began at the stroke of midnight, under a sky where stars aligned in patterns unseen for millennia. As they chanted and the artifacts glowed, a gateway opened, revealing the nexus of all realms, the heart of the cosmic balance. Through this gateway, Clara glimpsed the true scale of their journey, understanding that their actions, however significant to their own world, were but threads in the vast tapestry of the universe. The Heartstone, pulsing at the ritual's center, began to radiate a brilliant light, drawing the fragmented energies of the shattered realms into a harmonious whole. The obsidian shards, the veil of Lysara, and the other artifacts each played their part, unraveling the tangled energies and healing the scars left by past conflicts and ambitions. As the ritual reached its zenith, Clara and her team felt a surge of energy, a unifying force that linked them to every corner of the cosmos. In that moment, they were not just protectors of their world, but stewards of the cosmic balance, guardians against the darkness that lurked in the spaces between. With a final burst of light, the gateway closed, the artifact's power spent, transforming them into mundane objects. Their extraordinary purposes fulfilled, the balance was restored, the breaches sealed, and the potential for chaos and destruction diminished. Whispering Pines, once a place of dread and secrets, became a beacon of hope, a symbol of the eternal fight against the encroaching shadows. Clara and her friends, their mission complete, looked out over the serene landscape of Ravenwood, the dawn breaking on a new era of peace and stability. The horrors of the past, the battles fought in the shadows, would fade into legend, but their legacy would endure, a reminder of the fragile line between order and chaos. Their story concluded not with an end, but a new beginning. The knowledge that balance is not a state to be achieved and forgotten, but a constant journey. And while the immediate threat was quelled, the vigilance of guardians like Clara and her companions would always be needed. Wherever shadows fell, and light needed a champion. Thus, the tale of Whispering Pines and its guardians became a timeless saga, a story of courage, sacrifice, and the unending vigil against the darkness, echoing in the whispers of the pines for generations to come.